All right, let's talk Florida State Seminoles football. Under head coach Mike Norvell, this program is steadily heading in the right direction. Made a lot of massive moves this offseason, some good additions in the recruiting game, the transfer portal. Things are looking really good for 2023. But one of the things when it comes to building a program for the long haul, as Florida State Seminole fans are aware, it's not just focused on 1 year at a time. You're not just trying to win the transfer portal 1 year to make a big run at it. You're trying to build long-term success, and the way you do that is in the recruiting game. And there's a great report out indicating how much of Florida State's success when it comes to bringing in new blood is a long-term play, and it's working out very well. But before I get into that, Seminole fans, I want to hear from you guys in the comments section below. Obviously, going into the next season, there's a lot of key matches I'm sure you're looking forward to. Give us one team you're more excited to play more than any other on your schedule, potentially a revenge game, rivalry game. Let us know, or let me know, I should say, in the comment section below what game you're looking forward to the most next season for Florida State football. So, all right, like I started this episode with talking about recruiting in Florida State, and they've done an absolutely outstanding job in 2023. According to 24/7 Sports, they finished, 19th in recruiting, but here's the big one, 4th overall in transfer portal. So they finished top 20 in terms of bringing in recruits, according to 24/7 Sports recruiting rankings, and they finished 4th in the country in bringing in transfer portals. That's obviously outstanding. You'd rather be a little bit higher in the recruiting game and that kind of deal, but there's a lot of good players coming to Florida State, and that's not a one-term deal. So College Football Headquarters, as part of Fan Nation, they released rankings already for the 2024 class to see where teams sit. And Florida State, according to the rankings, has the 3rd best so far recruiting class in 2024, ahead of programs like Alabama, LSU, Florida, South Carolina, and Clemson. That's obviously Michigan State as well. So that's obviously a really good class to be ahead of a lot of those big-time programs. A lot of those guys like Clemson, for example, they are competing with in the ACC, and of course schools like Alabama, Florida, and the LSU, they're obviously national competitor and regional competitor as well. So being ahead of those guys early is a great sign for Florida State, and this is what the report had to say specifically about their class so far. Mike Norvell teams traditionally run the ball with skill, and the Seminoles built on that capacity by landing Cameron Davis, a consistent top 5 running back nationally with speed and power, who can get serious yards after contact. Tawaski Abrams and Camden Freer are 2 top 50 wide receivers, both from Florida. That's huge, by the way. I love when Florida State gets players from Florida, because sometimes some of these programs, these big national programs that are in college football hotbeds, I see this sometimes with Texas. They try and focus on areas outside of Texas. You get all the great recruits there. Focus on there and win there. And Florida State winning there already in 2024 is a great sign. But anyway, Abrams and Camden Freer are 2 top 50 wide receivers, both from Florida, while Jordan Pride is Florida State's top defensive pickup, who's the number 5 safety in the nation and top 15 prospect in the state. That's pretty high, so that's obviously a couple good pickups there. Now, what does this mean long-term? Of course, we'll have to wait and see if any of these players turn out to be good. I think the odds are a good chunk of them will be. They're rated really highly in the Florida area. Florida State, I should say, is obviously a hotbed for recruiting talent. Most of these guys go out to be really good players and go on to have, frankly, go to the NFL and have good careers there as well. But what we're seeing from Norvell and Florida State here is that they're building the program for the long haul, because that fell off, right? They lost the ability to recruit at the national level. They lost the ability to, frankly, dominate and win in the Southeast and in Florida for a number of years. You saw Clemson kind of roach on that territory. Alabama's gotten in on that, right? Because one of those things, it really shouldn't happen. Georgia's gotten very active as well. It really shouldn't happen because Florida's kind of stunk for a little while, and Miami hasn't been Miami for 2 decades, it feels like. So it feels like Florida State should absolutely crush the state of Florida. Unfortunately, under the past few regimes, it's kind of fallen off a little bit, but Mike Norvell is doing one heck of a job, and he's not just doing it right, because one of those things he could have done is follow the Lincoln Riley model when Riley went from Oklahoma to USC. It's just focus on, hey, I just want to bring all the transfers. Let's bring in transfers. Let's bring in all my guys. And he did a lot of that. Norvell did this offseason, did a lot of great transfers, but I love the fact he's going out there and dominating on the recruiting game as well, because transfers to me are like free agents in the NFL. Some years you hit, some years you miss, some years, the guys want to come to you, sometimes they don't, right? It's just kind of very in flux. You don't know exactly what's going to happen. But recruiting to me is a sign of long-term success. Alabama's a great example. Georgia's a great example. If you're long-term consistently at the top of the recruiting rankings, you're going to be long-term consistently at the top of the national rankings. And right now, Florida State under Norvell is doing everything right in terms of trending in that direction. They did a good job in 2023. Again, 19 in the country recruiting. That's pretty good. Obviously did well in the transfer portal, but the fact they're already doing well in 2024, 3rd overall, according to this report, is a great sign for Florida State going forward in the future. And right now, if I was a Seminoles fan, obviously 2023 is not too far away. It's going to get here faster than a lot of us think, and that's going to be a good year for Florida State. I think they're doing a lot of things well, but even beyond that, the long-term future is looking really bright in Tallahassee.